To access all full body language videos, breakdowns and analysis, alongside the game that I can't feature here on YouTube, check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. Thanks.
Yes, no. Everyday Superpower, where we talk body language, relationships, game, and everything in between. I'm going to talk about Red Pill content creators today. I'm going to talk about pickup artists today, yes. And I'm going to talk about reality. Hopefully. My personal perception of reality, okay? We all see things differently. But I want to talk to you about this, right? If you are wanting to become better with people, I mean, generally a man wants to be better with women, but I'm saying if you just want to be better as a whole, communicating with man, woman, alien, and so reptilian as well, and so on and so forth, you have to educate yourself independently. You need to read, you need to watch, you need to hear different perspectives, you have to see different views, and you need to look at the biological roots, the hardwiring. Hell, you might even want to go into the critical thinking realm, and you might want to think, did we... Are we a blend between alien and primate? Where did our conscious mind stem from? Is this the truth? Is this even real life? Is this a simulation? Am I a video game character? Are those NPCs? What's going on? When you watch or hear red pill content creators, and I'm saying not red pill in the sense of this is reality, this is politics, this is right-wing politics, I love Donald Trump. I'm saying people in the realm of attraction and speaking about women and how you have to be good with women and what women want or what women don't want, right? Look at what they're doing. Look at who they are. And understand they might be bullshitting you. They might be trying to sell something to you, right? You are going to get more attention being a red pill content creator. You are going to get more agreement. You are going to garner more advertisement revenue. You are going to become a bolder face. You are going to be used as a tool of the establishment when you grow large, utilizing these marketing methods as a red pill content creator. If you mirror the disenfranchised, lost, hopeless, uncomfortable men that seek out this media. What do I mean by that? I mean, if I sit here and I tell you women are bad, and if I have a bunch of women sitting around the table with me who I've chosen to represent, the facet of feminine nature we all don't agree with, and I give it to you and present it to you in such manner, even though there's plenty of other women I could have chosen, but I've strategically chosen to give you this image of the woman because I know it will align with your perspective and what you think a woman is, and all of the women that rejected you and so on and so forth, and I tell you these women are bad. Oh, women are bad. Only women want is this, that, and the third, and you think, oh wow, that's so true. I completely agree with you. I'm going to buy a course. Oh, I'm going to subscribe to you. Oh, I'm going to give you money, right? Understand that you're getting played, you're getting pimped. That's marketing 101. Yeah? If somebody comes forth and says some factual shit, it's a lot less exciting than somebody engaging you emotionally and connecting with you and reflecting your insecurities, but giving it a twist to say, you're not alone, man. I'm just like you. I hate women too. It's gay. Now, I don't say that to say this. I'm going to move on to what I really want to speak to, and it's about looking at these red pill creators as they are. Let's say I'm just going to tell you all of these men are great with women, right? I'm just going to give you this blanket statement. All these men are great with women. You listen to their advice. You apply their advice. You believe these men are great. They know exactly what they're doing. You've seen videos of them with women and so on and so forth, right? Look at the reality. Look at the reality. And look at the things that aid these men. So, the mystery method. Mystery, yeah? The archetype PUA dude, right? This is like the most popular pickup artist dude of all time. And I like a lot of the stuff he's come up with. I think he's very intelligent. I really enjoy this dude's stuff. But the guy's like 6'6", right? How much game do you need? Is the same game he runs gonna be applicable for you when you're 5'4"? Right? I mean, there's some foundational stuff that makes sense, and you have to, listen in and understand and reapply and compare and contrast with other theories and other, scientific understandings. But the truth of the matter is, how much problem are you going to have when you're good looking, you're in good shape, and you're the tallest man in the room, right? Is there much need to peacock? And when we come to the idea of peacocking, the idea of peacocking is making yourself look like a little bit of a fool so you garner attention, if any, passive aggressive attention from other men who see you as a reflection of things they daren't do, and in becoming open to ridicule and not being fearful of that ridicule, women find that attractive. It's like the lion in the savannah who's like just bold and is like, I don't really care what other people think because I'm a flipping lion. It's fine. These words aren't going to hurt me. This negative attention isn't going to hurt me. If anything, it's going to garner more attention my way, and you love that attention, and it brings women to you. Now, are you going to be a little more fearful looking like a clown naturally if you're 5'10", if you're 5'7", if you're 5'5"? Do you see where I'm coming from? When you're of larger stature, when you're a little more physically imposing, maybe it's easier to do. That doesn't rid of the point that's been made through the concept of peacocking and the mystery method and so forth. But I'm saying look at things as they are. Yes. I can't tell you how to run game if you stink, right? Look at it as it is. I seen some guy. This guy's crazy. This guy's foolish, man. This guy is a clear psychopath. He's a clear psychopath, and nobody sees this for what it is. He's a psycho. He's dead in the eyes. He's got a problem. And he uploaded a in-game video, right? And this guy's talking about he sleeps with all these women, like ungodly numbers, devilish numbers, bullshit numbers, to put it bluntly. The devil is a lie, bullshit numbers. I sleep with all these women, blah, blah, blah. And then he uploads videos of him running game. And he goes up to women and literally lies. He lies. He goes up to these women and he says he's something they're not, and that's his game. And then he's selling courses and he's the be-all and end-all. And it's like, wait a minute. I don't care how you pull women if you have to lie to do so. You should have integrity and honor as a man. And the moment you lie to anyone for the sake of getting what you want, how can I trust you? How can I trust you? The BS artist. If he lies to them and he's brazen about it and he's carefree about that, saying that's game, and then he's selling you a product, he's selling you bullshit. Look at it as it is. Where else do we go from here? Content creator, which is a well-known figure in the field, and he does a few in-game videos, goes out at night, clubs and stuff, approaches women, runs game. He's got a flipping camera crew, blasting bright lights into the faces of these women as he engages with them. Do you not think that woman is attracted to the attention and reacts appropriately, given that this man who has approached them is a somebody supposedly because he's leading a group of sad men who have bought a course to learn how to pull, and think that this guy is naturally pulling women when the external factors really serve as the purpose as to why he's garnering this attention, because he's making out like he's Brad Pitt with a Hollywood movie set around him as he goes forth and he creates this engagement with drunken women. Look at things as they are, They'll come forth and say, this is the reality of why women are interested in you and why they're not interested in you. And this is what makes you attractive and so forth. And then there's so many different measures that are just overlooked. I'm not saying that these people aren't intelligent. I'm not saying that these people don't give great advice. They do. But look at things as they are, right? Look at things as they are. Let me see if I've made another note. If not, I'm signing out there. But yeah, one last one. One last one. The resources. These men will tell you, oh yes, all you have to do is this, that, and the third. This is what women are into. This is what they're not into, and so on and so forth. Completely disregarding the fact that they're rich off of playing YouTube and selling courses and garnering this crowd of people who believe everything they say. And indirectly, they could utilize the fact that they are leading so many men as another attractive point for discussion or note when engaging with women. That's not bad. That's completely fine. I'm not saying that like it's a negative, but it's not purely down to the fact these men go on dates with women and then they just cast a magical spell and they, click every right button verbally and run the perfect game and they're just naturally attractive. No. The fact that they are getting rich off of telling you that they are naturally attractive and this is how you naturally attract women. The fact that they are garnering a crowd of people who support them and continue to give them money, making them the leader women crave, making them the independent man women crave, making them financially stable, which women crave, that is going to serve more purpose than this guy who comes from nothing, has the information and has read the rational male and has applied the rational male and understands hypergamy and so forth and tries to run game in that way and doesn't have a crowd and doesn't have the resources. There's going to be so much little emphasis, as far as the social market value is concerned, because he's quite simply not going to have the resource he did before he started his YouTube channel, before he started to tell you it's just natural, before he started to tell you this, that, and the third. I don't sit around and watch these content creators, but I want to tell you to tell me, is there anyone out there who just boldly says, oh yeah, I just flash the money I made, I've just got a nice car now I've done YouTube, I've just got a nice apartment, I've just got a nice watch now. And it just comes from the fact you've been buying courses off me thinking it's based on game, when the reality of such is, well, when I say game, I mean verbal game. I say treating women badly. I say being an alpha male. I say being, using this flipping routine and using this canned response and using this, method and whatnot. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. I'm signing out. Click like and subscribe. And I love all these content creators. Let me leave that there. I won't even hating. I'm just saying, look at things as they are. Yeah, look at things as they are. Look at it from the ground up. Yes, one love. Everyday Superpower, where we talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. Generally I speak to the men, but this goes both ways. Both the men and the women, because this is. We got different brains, right? So, it's going to affect both sides of the coin in different ways. There's going to be different economics per se in regards to the topic I'm going to speak of today. But let's talk game. Let's talk some real game. And I want this to be somewhat empowering to you listening to this. I'm going to talk about envy. I'm going to riff on this. I haven't come with a note, a particular niche of this topic I want to discuss in particular. I just thought I would freestyle this one because it's something I am aware of, something I've experienced, something I see on a day-to-day basis, and something I identify ever so well to a extent that others don't pick up on it, and I see it for what it is. And if I was to reference it, people say, what you on about? Because I'm fine-tuned to this. I'm going to talk about envy. I'm going to talk about passive aggression. I'm going to talk about haters. And I'm going to talk about the necessity of such and the inevitability that if you become anybody of substance, standard, if you garner any degree of success in any realm, yes, any realm, whether it's you get a job or you get promoted at a job, or you start a business, or you go to the gym once, or you go to the gym 100 times, or you get a six-pack abs, if you lose weight, if you find self-respect, if you have a smile on your face, if you get a new haircut, if you do anything ever, you're going to realize that people hate you. Why? Why? Because what people are going to do, and listen to me, the people closest to you are going to be the ones who do this the most, right? And we're going to go in depth on this because I like this. I like this brutal reality of human nature, and it needs to be discussed purely because if you're aware of it, you're going to avoid getting shot in the head, metaphorically, if not literally, by the people closest to you because you didn't see the signs, right? Let's talk about friends first and foremost. Let's say either you grew up with this person or these people. Let's say you've known this person for a year. Let's say you've known this person for 5 years. Let's say you've been in this social group for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, right? Enough time for you to establish a relationship, a standard, an understanding of each other, and a dynamic of communication, right? Now, let's say, for example, you get lucky. You buy a scratch card, you scratch it off, you win £500,000, and that's a lot of money to you, right? I'm assuming you're not a multi-millionaire. So you scratch off 500,000. Whoa! Normal people think that if they express this to their close friends are going to be happy for them. Nope. Your best friend is going to hate you. Your best friend is looking for that same stroke of luck you've just received, and you've had it now, and your friend is going to be envious, jealous, is going to respond to you in a manner you are blown away by. Wow, they weren't as happy as I thought they'd be. And then that friend starts working against you. Why? Because through their eyes, you were on equal plane. And then when you receive this blessing, they wonder, well, we're on equal plane. I wish that was me. Why isn't that me? That needs to be me. When you buy a nice new car with that money, hopefully in a frugal sense, you don't piss the money away, but when you buy a nice new car, that car is now a symbol of how you receive the blessing that other person is dying for. If you come from the streets, yeah, you know, poverty-stricken community, and you go from having nothing to having something, and you continue associating with those who have nothing, who's to say they're now not looking at you like an easy raise where nobody else has given it them before? All they need to do is stab you in the back, and then they can live the life of their dreams, right? But you're friends, and friends don't do that sort of thing, right? Your naivety comes before your pessimism. And the moment one goes from naive to pessimistic, yes, it could be deemed as looking at the glass half empty, and it could be looked at as problematic, but it's a survivalist mechanism that's been switched on through the understanding of the new reality. Unfortunately, some people might have to learn a hard lesson before that pessimism switch is switched on, but it's the true reality. Now, let's say you didn't win the lottery, but instead you worked very hard and you did it all yourself. You worked hard from the ground up and you built something of yourself. Those close to you who were on the equal plane, although not wanting to admit it, although consciously repressing this, is now aware, due to the societal standard and how we operate as human beings, especially as men, understanding the pecking order on a subconscious basis. That's why we non-verbally submit and act dominant to other men outside of our own conscious awareness. It's why we engage in certain manners towards certain people. It's why the subordinate smiles more than the boss does when they're in conversation, and the boss smiles more to, the CEO when they're in conversation, because it's a non-verbal showcase of submission and dominance, alike the animals we are, right? Alike the chimpanzees and the bonobos and each and everything that exists. We were once on an even level. Now you've worked really hard and you've established a higher tier. And I see that. And I project myself onto you. And my projection of myself upon you reflects back at me my loss, my lack. They've got more than me now, and it's not a matter of seeing you as having more and being proud of you for having more. It becomes a self-centered, egotistical mirror reflecting myself and what I'm not and what I lack. This is tenfold, 100-fold if you work within the same field, right? If you're both artists and your art starts to garner attention and create revenue, whereas theirs doesn't, they're going to be so envious because they're going to see you and their ego. Generally, I'm speaking the majority of people here. I know some people are quite logical, but it's incredibly rare, right? So this person sees you and just wishes that that was them. And it's not. The reality is it's not. So they start to hate you. They stop supporting you. They start talking about you behind your back. They start seeing how you are acting different, right? Oh, that person is rubbing noses with, celebrities now. Oh, that person's changed since they had the money. Yes! Because I'm evolving. And that's completely fine and natural, such as you would do if you worked hard. When you're in a workplace and you are a salesperson and then you got promoted to a supervisor, right? You start acting different because your position is different, your role is different. You have different responsibilities and you get paid more for that additional responsibility, right? Now these salespeople who are on the same level as you start looking at you as the supervisor saying, oh, they changed, man. They changed. Yes, that's the system. They did change. Like it or leave it. Do you see where I'm coming from? If you go to the gym, if you start taking steroids because you feel insecure about yourself, you feel weak, you were bullied in school because you were frail and you were easy to pick on, and so through this overcompensatory method, you start jabbing up and you start growing these huge muscles and you start feeling good and you start looking at yourself in the mirror and you feel, whoa, I look amazing, no one's going to pick on me anymore. It's the counter opposite. I know this. I've spoken on this a couple of times. I know quite a few big men, right? They're the ones who people start fights with at clubs after they've had a few drinks. These are the people who get these passive-aggressive snaps from these men because they see them as what they're not, but what they wish to be. Their insecurities manifest and transmutate into this angry energy, this passive-aggressive energy. Through this alchemy of emotion, inwards insecurity becomes outward aggression, projected from themselves outwards, because it can't stay inside and it needs a way to come out. The most beautiful women get called sluts by other women. Get put down by other women. Because some women are deemed threatening to other women down to the fact they are aesthetically beautiful. Not because they've got a better job. Not because they make more money. Nope. Because within the realm of the woman, how you look essentially correlates with your sexual value in the marketplace. Because the better you look, the more chance you have of attracting a man of substance, a man of resource, a man who can change your life. So it's the biological nature and programming of that woman to try and diminish the value of that woman by saying she's a slut, implying that if you as a man were to get with her, she might get pregnant and you don't know who the baby is, which is like the most, it's an inbuilt fear within the human, which isn't a part of our conscious mind, but it resides within our deepest psyche through quite a little bit of time of hardwiring and the reality of this actually being a thing, right? She's a slut, so she might sleep around, she might have a child and it isn't yours, and you've looked after that for 18 years. She's a slut and she might give you an STD. Anything to stop you pursuing this woman, because if you had to get with this woman, your resources would be going to this woman. And because this woman is threatened by her aesthetic prowess, by her physical beauty, instead of bringing her down in the physical sense, she tries to bring her down on the biological sense, trying to influence through telling you that she sleeps around and bringing her value down in that realm, which, you know, for most men it doesn't work, because if anything, that's a selling point. What, she's more likely to sleep with me? So it's kind of shoots yourself in the foot, but it's a thing. When you're young, you think, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to start doing my thing, I'm going to be creative, I'm going to do this, that, and the third. And you think your friends are going to support you, and, you know, they might create a facade of support. You think my family's going to support me, and they might create a facade of support. But the reality of such is, when you start a project, when you start a business, people aren't just going to support you because they are within your community. People aren't going to support you just because they're your friend. People aren't going to support you just for the sake of it. No. There needs to be some distance. Your clientele, your consumer, your customer isn't your friend. They're somebody who sees the value for what it is. They don't feel the uncomfortable pressure and weight upon their shoulders, you know, of you or them believing they have to support you purely because, you know, they know you. That becomes quite oppressive, and that will actually turn them against you, because they won't want to speak to you, because they'll know they're not promoting you. They'll know they don't want to promote you. They'll know that they'll have this monkey on their back, which chokes them every time they engage with you, because they know there's a societal pressure of them being a good friend, having a necessity that they kind of have to support you, but they don't want to. Number one, they don't want to elevate you in a position that is beyond them. Their ego doesn't want to allow that. And two, they probably just don't care about what you're doing in that way, right? You have to find your own market. It doesn't already exist with your friends. You know, people got their own tastes and stuff. But when we are young and we initially get into stuff like this, it's kind of a hard lesson to learn, you know? Your family and friends aren't going to support you. Full stop. And it's fascinating, yeah. So what else needs to be spoken about? I think I will leave that one there. That's a little discussion on envy, the green-eyed monster they call it. Actually, let's continue on. So when I speak on you talking to your friends and whatnot, yes, you have to not. When you win the lottery, you have to not tell anyone. when you come across a turn of luck. I mean, for those whom it may actually affect in a positive way, let's say you're looking after somebody, or there is some degree of benefit to the people around you. Let's say your mother, needs some financial assistance, and you come across a good job, and you're gonna use a little bit of that to help your mother out and so forth. You can say, "Hey, we've done all right, and I'm gonna help you out with that." Okay, then it's a blessing, right? It's great. She's not necessarily gonna look at you like, in a jealous manner, right? But you still have to dull your glow, okay? And I say that because if you won the lottery, as I said initially, £500,000, it's best off not necessarily, exposing the blessing you've received. You have to downplay it and say, I've just come across a couple of quid. I've had an easy month. I'm all right to pay that bill for you that you've been struggling with. But when you say I've made £500,000, she's going to feel, what's the word for it? I forgot the term for it, but she's going to look at the £500 you've given her and say, or at least think, you've had 500,000. Are you not going to give me more? Even though you've gone out of your way to help and assist and give charitably, through her perspective, through her perception, she's going to look at you as cheap and stingy because you haven't given her more, right? It's a crazy world, but that's the way it is. I'm going to leave that there because I'm stuttering and buttering a little bit now. So I want to say one love, people. Click like and subscribe. Leave some stuff down below in regards to this. Have you experienced this? Do you experience it? I know you do. It's very human to feel envy. To create a rationalized perspective of it, though, is possible. To know you feel this way because of that, because it's a mirror of yourself, is possible. When somebody annoys you, instead of thinking it's them being annoying, think, what is it inside of me that finds this triggering? And you'll unlock a whole wealth of understanding, okay? I'm signing out. Peace. Everyday Superpower, where we talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. Let's talk to you about men. Let's talk to you about being a man. Let's talk to you about power. Let's talk to you about freedom. Let's talk to you about living a good life and being perceived, especially by women, as one who has value. So, the common relationship between the things I've just referenced is, let's approach one particular perspective and observation of mine in relation to being a valued man, being a valuable man. If you complain about your circumstances, yet don't change your circumstance, not only do you look, well, let's be real, not only are you weak, not only are you powerless, but you look weak. You look soft. You look pathetic, right? Honestly, wholeheartedly, I'm going to really dial this one in, okay? If you don't like the job you work, if you don't like the people you associate with, if you come back to your relationship and engage with your partner about how disappointed you are with the people you're around, the person's done you dirty or flaked on you again when this has happened before with that same person, if you're going to work and you hate the workplace and you come back and express that upon your partner, she is going to see you for what you are, and that's a powerless individual. Power comes with being able to control your reality. Yes. You've worked a job before, I should hope, to some extent, yeah? And if you've worked a job, you've been around people who have complained about their job, yet they remain in that job. And when you leave that job, given that you do end up leaving it, if you were dissatisfied yourself with it, which you should do, they stay. How pathetic is that? You are spending your finite life and your finite time. This isn't financial. This is the one vessel you possess within this finite existence, within this material manifest, within this world, right? Within our moment on planet Earth. And you are scared to take control over your own life and make the change. A woman is going to look at you and say, how can you protect me? How can you lead me? How can you take us, our family and so forth, to a better destination and location if you can't even do that for yourself? Some men, it is a necessity to do the things you don't want to do and have a moment of friction. Yes, and feel burnt out and feel fatigued and be dissatisfied. Yes, most definitely. If you've got 5 kids that need feeding, maybe you do need to work that warehouse job. Maybe you do need to stack them shelves for a little bit, even though you don't necessarily like it. But don't complain. Understand that you have a bright future coming up. Prepare. Have a foresight that expands beyond your nose. Yes? Don't be so short-sighted. You just live in this endless cycle of pissing your life away and complaining about it, which is what most people do. And it's incredibly significant of weakness. People don't even understand the freedom and the power that they do have. You will make a decision that's best for you, and contrary to the societal norm, you will opt out of things that don't serve you, right? And because the societal system and the engineering has told you that you do have to be this battery that pays taxes and allows the corporations to continue running things, you are just throwaway fodder. You have to accept that and you have to be that. The idea that you say, nah, I don't really want to be this, I'm going to move on elsewhere where I feel some degree of positivity in my life, you will move away, and those same people who are complaining to you about how shit things are going to pop up to you and say, oh, do you regret it? Oh, do you blah, 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 blah. What regret? What? Being a leader and taking control of my life and navigating my own path as I should do. You need to take this path. You need to have this identity. And if you are a follower as opposed to a leader, which is okay, you're not going to be the most attractive person on planet Earth being a follower as opposed to a leader to the women, right? No man really wants to be identified as a follower, but it is within their makeup, yes? Because otherwise you wouldn't have 200,000 million people in the workforce and one CEO, right? The statistics and the numbers showcase that there's quite a few more followers and people opting into the system as a subordinate as opposed to somebody creating and forging their own path and having the power to do so, having the willpower to do so, having the sacrifice and the submission to the game and, the powers that be, as opposed to the material world and another human being who wears a suit and tie and just has nothing other than a title within this workplace hierarchy and a nice car. You feel like that's worthwhile getting on your hands and knees and bowing down to and living a life that does not serve you any purpose or give you any fulfillment. It disgusts me, and you should find a disgust in them people. You should not try to attain a life as to where you can't make your own decisions, where you can't maneuver in your own manner, where you can't say no, where you can't speak your mind. Oh, I can't say that because I'll get fired. And I've not planned for the future. I've not planned for a month beyond now. And then, you can say, oh, well, the cost of living and all blah, blah, blah. Bro, I come from nothing. Right? Where there's a will, there's a way. And if you have identity, a purpose, a passion, and truth be told, in my personal opinion, if you want to create a better life for your children, you best sort that shit out. Because otherwise the cycle continues and you're going to have to hope to God that your child creates an economic benefit for their children. Because otherwise you're not going to do it, are you? You bum. You loser. She sees that. She sees that in your character. And it's not about throwing yourself off a cliff and just hoping for the best. No. It's called calculated risk. I'm not quitting the job I hate if I've got no money. Then how am I going to pay my rent? My credit score's going to bomb. I'm going to have my phone blown up. I'm going to have to opt into another job out of necessity. The cycle continues. It's a bad idea, right? But when I'm investing my time and focus and energy in that which is more important to me, and then just doing what I have to do in positions I don't necessarily enjoy too much, but I'm not going to complain about it because that's the life I live, and I know I'm using this as a driving force in order to direct my life and establish momentum and use that fuel for fire to direct me in a better, more successful position than I am now. I digress. I've lost exactly where I was trying to get to with that. But you as a man, don't complain about your circumstances. Because you're there for a reason. If you can help moving out of there, then you should. Don't complain about it. Don't say, I hate where I live. I hate this country. I hate my friend group. I'm so upset with my relationship. I am blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. My first question is, well, why don't you change it? Her first question is, well, why don't you change it? I thought you're a man, right? I thought you were supposed to take lead. I thought you were supposed to be independent, right? We didn't get taught these things, but in my biological nature, I know for some strange reason I'm attracted with men who showcase those characteristics. My feminine nature, for some strange reason, draws me towards men who show masculine characteristics, even though I don't really consciously know what a masculine characteristic is, because we are taught that which is masculine is toxic. Because if we abide by the toxic masculine, then for some strange reason, we become successful men, and we don't abide by the societal norm and the structure that needs you to become a slave in order to pay your taxes, in order to keep on building and generating wealth for those who don't care about you and look at you as a number, because you're all replaceable, because where there's you, there's a next man who's been programmed through the same system to exist within this space. Screw your head on. If there's anything you're complaining about, if there's anything concerning your reality you are uncomfortable about, think about it. Okay, do I have to deal with this for a little bit longer and suck it up and understand that it's leading to a better place, or do I change this now? And if I can change this now, what's stopping me from doing it? Have a look at the root of it. It stems from childhood more than likely. Scarcity, abundance. Why can't I change my reality? And the fact that you can't change your reality is a symbol of your lack of power. You have no control, right? I'm putting you onto some game here or some food for thought, right? Most people won't want to hear it because it's going to connect to them. But do you think it doesn't connect to me as well? Do you not think there's some places where I find comfort, yet there is a contrary experience I feel alongside that comfort, which is telling me you're too comfortable, this is boring, this is not who you are, this is not the life you want to live. Are you just going to spend your life in this comfortable position? I go through it myself, and I think I don't necessarily want to change this, I don't necessarily want to leave this, but there is something, there is a message in my intuition that is telling me that I need to move onwards, that I need to create, that I need to be, as opposed to just purely exist within this space. Listen to it. Listen to it. She is not going to respect you if you come to her and you complain about your existence and your reality, because every single decision you've made from your life up until now has led you to this place. Don't blame anybody else. Don't blame your upbringing. Don't blame your lack of education, such as myself. Don't blame anything other than the fact that what you have right now is what you have. And you can take this path, that path, that path, that path. And the only person who can give you the incentive to take these paths is yourself, because otherwise, if you just stay on the path, someone else is going to tell you where to go, and that place where to go is a very dissatisfying, meaningless, normal, drone-like existence by creation, by intention, by the structure of the societal norm. Don't be powerless. Don't be powerless. If you're attracted to power, if you think, you know what, it'd be nice to have a little bit more power in my life, right? And don't go give me the whole, what do you mean power? I'm not a psychopath. I'm not a control freak, blah, blah. It's nothing to do with that. I'm not talking politics. I'm quite simply saying, if you want freedom, if you want decision, if you want space to maneuver, if you want to be able to make options as opposed to be stuck on one particular route because you can't afford to do anything else, because you can't afford to choose anything else, because you can't afford the ridicule, because you can't afford the things people think about you, and so on and so forth. Take a look at yourself, see where this situation is rooted, and understand that people are not going to respect you for fitting inside that box, because that box nobody likes, but everybody's getting jammed into there for a purpose, right? I'm signing out. Peace. Click like and subscribe, you know. Everyday superpower. We talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between, alright? I'm going to come to you, bada bing, bada boom, with a simple question today. Very simple question. What social value do you bring her? What social value do you bring her, right? This is whether you be in that relationship right now with this individual, or whether you are wanting to be in a relationship with this individual, or whether you just want to be prepared for, you know, that moment where you get talking to someone who you find attractive. What knowledge of self does one have? What social value do you actually bring her, right? It's all based on value. Perceived value more so than actual value, although once you get into a actual consistent communication, i.e. a relationship, if your value was purely perceived and not rooted in reality, that relationship will come undone pretty bloody fast, right? She'll see the non-congruency between who you say you are and who you actually are. Yeah? She is socially engineered to garner that information as time goes by. So, what social value do you provide? Simple. Do you offer a better life for this individual? Do you offer time in the limelight? Because attention is a currency in the feminine world, yes? For us men, generally, resource tends to be a little more important to us than fame and fortune, but hey, I know a few artists who pursue fame and, acknowledgement in the public eye above and beyond money, but that's because money doesn't mean anything to them at this point. And when you grow older and get more mature as a man and have more responsibility, I think you tend to re-establish your priorities, and financial income, investment, and resource management tends to be a little more important than the idea of being famous. Arguably quite feminine, right? So, what value do you bring her? As I said, attention is a currency within the feminine world. So, the idea that you don't provide the material resource like Mr. Banker doesn't necessarily mean that you're not as attractive as them because you might be a figure, you might be a name, you might be known, you might be a leader in your community, you might have established a degree of social success in a space she would love to be present within, love to be a name in, love to be identified with. And think about this, right? Quite simply, she can go to her friends and say, my boyfriend is this person, or I'm dating this person. What's your social value? Who are you? What will she sum you up as when introducing you through word of mouth to those closest to her, who she knows will judge her because she judges them? How is she going to verbally introduce you as someone you're at least dating? If that makes sense. What's your social value? Hey, I mean, we don't necessarily go into it here, but this can even be a racial thing, right? I'm a white man. I have dated foreign women, and there's a taboo element of social value that comes with that when they come from abroad, you know, maybe from a more impoverished area, you know. Hey, I'm broke as a joke. I'm broke as a joke. So, you know, I don't know why they need to show me off, but here we are. There's a whole wealth of different perspectives and means of utilizing what you've got in order to look great and be attractive through her eyes, right? Through social value comes a multitude of attractive traits she searches for non-consciously in a partner. If you have social value, you show leadership qualities, because that which is to not be valued socially is to be within the crowd. And that which is within the crowd blends in, doesn't stand out. And although you as a man probably prefer that position, I know I do, to that woman, she would be more interested in a Kanye West controversial figure who winds people up, who acts a bit of a clown from time to time, but garners the attention and the energy and the concentration of the masses, than average Joe who has a decent job, holds it down well, and is able to provide to an okay degree. Because in a way, the center of attention, who wears it well, who deals with the conflict, is the peacock. Yeah, I'm ridiculed. Yeah, people throw tomatoes at me, but it doesn't bother me. It sucks to be them. They wish they could be me, and that's why they project this disdain and this hatred towards me. Because if I really was a nobody, if I really was worthy of no opinion, if I really was lesser than them, they wouldn't acknowledge me. Nobody punches down, they only punch up. As far as envy is concerned and passive aggression is concerned, she wants to be with the center of attention, even though it might be, you know, marketed as distasteful. What's your social value? She has got 1 million followers on Instagram, right? Your social value being this local painter with an independent job, right? doesn't cut it. Your social value is nada in relation to what she perceives her own value as. She's going to look for a man who surpasses that through one way or another. She needs to find you valuable. The woman is not going to date down. She never will. And if she does, it's momentarily, and she might just be fetishizing you for some reason. She's not going to find longevity in your relationship because you're not fulfilling the masculine principle that is a necessity within the relationship. Yes? What do you mean? What do you mean? I just mean statistically. I just mean if you look at the numbers, if you look at the people holding hands in the street, you can make sense there and then of the general reality of masculine and feminine, how they integrate what they find attractive in a partnership. You don't need to look into the inner depths and the neuroscience and the evolutionary biological impulse and look at the red pill and look at the blue pill and argue and divide and go your own way and all of this shit. No, just look at the reality of that which manifests in the world around you. The only problem is you got so many people, including the media, that tells you left is right and up is down and so on and so forth. They have you confused as to what the truth is, and the truth is there before your eyes. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still some degree of social engineering going on there, but there's a difference between an incel and somebody with a girlfriend. Just have a look at how them men are different, and you'll come across your answer. What's your social value? Do you have value? Do you have any degree of value? And social value I speak of, utilizing the word social might be a little bit disruptive because I'm not trying to say you need to be like an extrovert and a face in a crowd and, garnering lots of attention. It's just, how can she use you to elevate her own status in the eyes of her community and her group and her family and so forth? How can she weaponize you and what you have going on to elevate how she is perceived through the perspective of those she wants to impress? You dig? As I've said time and time again, I'm the most introverted person on planet Earth, right? I hate being in social situations. And that's why I'm so observant and right when it comes to social observations and analysis. Because I listen. I rarely speak. I perceive that which is. I absorb the knowledge and I relay it to yourselves. You're my people, you're my group, There you go. Social value, what do you do? Oh, I speak on YouTube, I got 1,700 subscribers. You don't know what that means. What is that in the grand scheme of things? It's not many, but it's something to portray and to put into, to essentially add a salesman spin on there and state that you are engaging. And no disrespect to you listening, but you are the leader per se of 1,700 men who look to you for at least a discussion based on human dynamics and the smart, intelligent world of communication and so forth. That in itself gives you what mystery would say, the pickup artist mystery, as the leader of men dynamic and flick that attraction trigger. Yes? How does she perceive you as valuable? She needs to. Because if she doesn't deem you as valuable in whichever way, you become a problem. And there's a spectrum to this, right? The boyfriend who has something to offer but is always hidden on her social media. She'll take photos of the restaurant, she'll take photos of the food, she'll take photos of each, that and everything, but he's always gone. Yeah, she's present. Yeah, she's there with him. Yeah, she's might be probably committed to this man, and he has a value as to which he's with her, right? They're engaging in a partnership. But if he was more valuable, if he was more of a somebody, if he had more resource, if he was a leader of more people, if he had the value of being handsome, so he's breaking necks everywhere he goes, then he would go from being Casper the Friendly Ghost in these images, being there but not there at the same time, a fine duality of such. This guy is but a spiritual entity existing and residing on the outskirts of these images, to him actually manifesting in the material world, because he's garnered the value for her to just be like, I need to show this guy off because this guy elevates how I am perceived, and how I am perceived is ever so important to me. How I am perceived is why I apply makeup. How I am perceived is why I unconsciously, if not consciously, compare and contrast myself with other women in my field. How I am perceived and the attention I garner is that of life and death to me. I need to show this guy off because this guy is with me. So by default, him being present with me and investing in me, at the very least his time, is a grand showcase of my value, my sexual market value, right? I'm putting you on game. What's your value? Does she deem you socially valuable? You tell me. On that note, I'm signing out. Peace. Click like and subscribe. You know.